This conference will now be recorded.
I know that our typical chair, Bob Schwartz, won't be attending, and our vice Travis, I think he did sign up, and Beth as well. So I'll keep my eye out on them. First up, introductions, and typically what I'll do is I'll just read the names as I see them on the list, and if you could just state your name and who you're affiliated with, that'd be great. I'm Brian Doherty. I'm the transportation director at Montachusett Regional Planning Commission. Grace Belmont.
Hi, this is Grace. I'm with the Transportation Department at MRPC.
Janet Tice.
Hi, I'm with the Shirley Planning Board.
Daryl Amaral.
Daryl Amaral, Mass DOT District 2 Planner.
Sarah Bradbury.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bradbury, MassDOT District 3 Planner.
Amanda Reed.
Amanda Reed Lunenburg.
George Snow.
George Snow, MRPC staff.
Tyler Godin.
Tyler Godin, MRPC.
George Kahali.
George Kahali, Mart.
Chelsea.
Hi, Chelsea Petrus, Chennai 9 Health Equity Partnership for North Central.
Bruno Fisher.
Good afternoon, Bruno Fisher, Mart Administrator.
Richard Kilhart.
Town of Athol, DPW.
Brian Keating.
Yep.
Lois Lunowich.
Yeah, Brian Keating, Planning Director, Lancaster, was Sub-District 4. Is that it, Brian?
For this group, Brian, that would be the MPO. That would be
That's
the
MPO. Okay, so yeah, Brian
affiliated, but it's kind of not representing a subregion for this group.
Okay, Brian Keating, Lancaster.
Lois Lunowich.
Yes, Lois Lunowitz, Chennai 9 Health Equity Partnership of North Central Mass.
Laura Schifrin.
Yes, Laura Schifrin with Townsend, Planning and Select Board, and MRPC.
Sarah Canamilla.
Sarah Canamilla, District 2 Projects.
Nick Erickson.
Nick Erickson, City of Fitchburg, Department of Public Works.
And finally, I see Jason Stanton, but I assume, Jason, you're on here trying to get Sherry access. Jason is with MRPC as well. Okay, so thank you, everyone. Second on the agenda is public comments. Are there any public comments? Seeing none. Approval of April 9th, 2025 minutes. If we can get a motion and a second, and we can just consider consensus of approval of the minutes.
Laura Schifrin, move to approve minutes of April, is that 9th, 2025?
Yep.
I second.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. Next off is the nominating committee. As per the bylaws of this group of the JTC, we have 3 officers. We have a chair, a vice chair, and a secretary who serve 1-year terms. So as we typically do in May, we're seeking to put together a nominating committee to bring forth a slate of officers to serve July 2025 through June 2026 term. Many of you who've been with this group know the obligations for the chair, vice chair, and secretary are very limited. Staff is here to take care of a lot of this. Essentially, it's just chairing the monthly meeting. So that the chair would be the chair of this meeting. If that person is not available, it would be the vice chair and then the secretary, so on and so forth. And of course, I'm always available to chair or pinch hit if we need that as well. So in any event today, what we're looking for is volunteers to serve on this nominating committee to present the slate of officers, and we'll be there for support as well. What we'll do is set up a meeting. Typically, we've done this before the June meeting to discuss, a 15-minute discussion. We'll bring that slate of officers to the group at the June meeting, accept any floor nominations next month at the meeting, and then come back in July and take a formal vote on chair, vice chair, and secretary to serve for the next year. So with that being said, do we have any volunteers to serve on this nominating committee?
Brian, I'll volunteer for the nominating committee if you like.
Okay, great. Thanks, Laura. And as I mentioned, we're here to go through the process with everyone and sort of, guide everyone through what needs to happen. Do we have any other volunteers?
Yeah, Brian, this is Bruno. I'll be glad to do that.
Great, Bruno. Anyone else? We don't. And I'll make sure I reach out to members to I'll reach out to the current officers to see what their interest is in continuing to serve. So we have
This is Nick
Bruno and Laura.
Erickson here. I'll volunteer.
Okay, great. Thanks, Nick. All right, so we have Bruno, Laura, and Nick. So I can set up a convenient time, and we can just do a quick 15-minute call and come up with a slate of officers. I'll put it down. Come back in June, and we can go over what we came up with. At that point, we'll ask for any additional nominations from the floor. So I'll follow up with you after this meeting, and we'll try to get a convenient time. Typically, in past years, we've done it right before the June JTC meeting, but if something else works better for this group, that's fine too. So I'll follow up on that. So thank you. All right, next we have 25 through 29 Transportation Improvement Program, Amendment number 2. So the MPO released Amendment number 2 to the federal fiscal year 25 through 29 TIP for a 21-day public comment period at the meeting in April. That comment period started April 25th, and it ends this coming Friday, close of business on May 16th. Basically, this involves 3 different projects, and really the catalyst of this was Project 609213, which is the Harvard Air Road project. We've discussed that in detail over the last several months when discussing the TIP. As you may remember, there's a need for this to move back one federal fiscal year because we don't believe it will be ready to go out for advertisement in federal fiscal year 2025. So basically before September 30th of this year. The reason for this is to move that project back, and it's placed in the regional prioritized section of the TIP. We'd like to move Project 609411 Fitchburg Twin Cities Rail Trail Construction Phase 2. Separately from those 2 projects, there's also a need to amend a discretionary grant award to the city of Gardner as well. They were awarded a build grant for a downtown mobility plan. That's through the U.S. Department of Transportation. Since that's all federal money, it's required to be listed on the regional TIP before the funds are released. So that's the reason for that. That being said, there's an opportunity to comment either officially as a JTC, or there's still a chance if you'd like to reach out to me if you do have a comment before close of business on Friday, and I'll add that comment. Ultimately, what we're looking for is a recommendation to the NPO. They'll be voting on endorsing this next week, which staff does recommend. So again, we won't take a formal vote, but if there is a consensus recommendation on this to the NPO, we'd be happy to have that.
What are you looking for, Brian?
So what I'm looking for is a recommendation to the MPO to endorse amendment number 2. And, it's not absolutely necessary, but the spirit of this group is to review this stuff and make any comments as they see fit.
Well, I've heard this many times in MPO, so I would certainly think that we would be supporting their efforts. So do you need a motion, or can it just be a consensus?
Yeah, we've operated on a consensus on this. If there is a consensus, if there's no if nobody has any issue with us recommending to the MPO that they endorse this amendment, that would be fine.
Well, I would recommend that we endorse the amendment. So anybody else can chime in, maybe?
Yeah, I second it.
Okay, great. And staff supports this as well. So I will make the recommendation to the MPO at the meeting next week to endorse amendment number 2, barring any major changes or things that come out through the comment period. So thank you. Next on the agenda, federal fiscal year 2026 through 30 transportation improvement program. So this is what we've been working on the last several months. We've been reviewing all this stuff. The JTC made the recommendation last month to the MPO that they release this document for a 21-day public comment period, which they opted to do. That comment period also lasts through close of business this coming Friday. So it's still open. To date, we've received 2 comments, and I'll go over those today. Also with this, the MPO will be taking a vote to endorse this next week. So if there is a recommendation for the group, that'd be good too. First off, I'll go over the comments that we received to date. First off, from Mass DOT Office of Transportation Planning. Here are their comments. You can see a column that says review item. That's basically a reference to the section that they're making a comment on, and then their official comments in the middle comment in the middle column. The first one, please consider including MassDOT's recommended actions for discretionary grant during active cycle. This is basically they're asking for additional clarification being added to the document regards to our amendment and adjustment procedures on these TIP projects. And this kind of all came about. The last few years, there's been a lot of federal grants available that our communities have been successful in getting. We just discussed a build grant from Gardner. There's been a lot of Safe Streets for All grants. A number of our communities have gotten those. Those all need to be listed on the tip before the money is released, technically. So in lieu of going through the whole amendment process, which triggers a 21-day public comment period and all the extra things that go into that, we've opted for, in certain cases, administrative adjustments, which basically, the MPO will review these grants as they come on board and list them in real time without the comment period. So we'll make some clarifications within the document of that. We agree with their comment. Their second comment, please note funding source acronyms. This is kind of a simple type of comment. They're just asking additional context to some of the acronyms we use. So we'll scan the document, make sure everything's spelled out. The next 2 comments from us with transportation planning are basically the same. They're asking for additional information to be added to the transit TIP projects. Basically, we've listed these projects in the document with most of the relevant information, but there's additional information as well available. So we'll update that. None of the projects themselves will change, but we'll add that additional information as well. And finally, from Mass DOT OTP is please include these appendixes. So they provided us a number of different appendixes to include in the document. Again, it doesn't affect any projects we've been discussing or listed in the past, but we do plan on adding projects, including from the MBTA and some other RTE transit projects. So that is from Mass DOT. We also received a comment from the town of Templeton regarding the Route 68 project. If you remember, we have moved this project back 2 years from where it was in 2027 out until 2029 due to lack of progress in the design, basically. So we've discussed this in somewhat detail. They sent a letter basically assuring us that they remain committed to the project, and they look forward to seeing it being funded, which is great. It's nice to have the commitment from the community. This project has been around for a little while. It's moved back a few times, so it's nice to see the commitment from the town of Templeton in writing, and we'll include this into the comments of the tip as well. So again, this is still out for public comment. The MPO will meet next week. We'll review these comments and we'll take a vote to endorse. So again, what we're looking for from this group is a consensus recommendation to endorse to the MPO.
Okay. Brian, I would make a recommendation that we endorse this program to the MPO.
Okay.
The draft.
Great. And barring any comments, I'll consider that consensus recommendation, and I'll mention that at the meeting next week.
Josh Kahale, second.
Great. Thanks, George. And it's still up for public comment. If there's any questions, reach out to me, and I can try to answer those. So thank you. Okay, the next is Federal Fiscal Year 26 Unified Planning Work Program. Sherry?
Sorry, I'm still a little frazzled though to not being able to get on earlier. Okay, yep. So do you want to bring up the table of contents first, Brian? So as you all know, we've been kind of going through the UPWP at the previous MJTC meetings over the past couple months. We had planned to release the document for public comment period last month, along with the tip, but we were still waiting for some budget numbers from FTA, which thankfully we received last week. So in the past meetings, we had discussed the geographic equity and social demographic data and how that relates to the proposed tasks. And then we also went into a little bit more detail on the newer tasks that we plan to accomplish within the next fiscal year. So let's take a peek at the table of contents. So this is just a nice recap of everything that's included in the document. A lot of the info leading up to the individual tasks is like text explaining the document, like what the MPO is, what the UPWP is, and then also things that MassDOT requests or things that are required for the document. And then it goes into the individual tasks and their descriptions, the work that'll be done, the estimated schedule, and the budget. So next up, we can bring up the budget document. Yep, so this one, perfect. So this is our total budget. We have $1,024,683 total, and those are distributed into every single tasks, showing 80% of which is from FHWA, FTA, and then the 20% from MassDOT. I know we had discussed most of these tasks, and they are grouped into 4 different categories, like the management and support, highway surveillance, transportation planning, and then multimodal planning activities. If anyone has any questions on specific tasks, we can definitely go into more detail on those. I know we had gone into a lot of detail in past meetings, but maybe you missed it and have other questions. So if anyone does have any questions, let me know. But at the end, I mean, what we're looking for today is, again, we're going to ask the MPO to release for public comment starting right after the day or two after their meeting. So we'd like to have a recommendation from the JTC for them to do so. So that's kind of what we're looking for right now. If anyone has any questions, though, I can totally answer them. All right, would anybody be willing to make a recommendation for the MPO to release the document?
I'm Sherry. Just one question, Janet Tice, Shirley. Is 3.1 the Shirley corridor analysis?
It is. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Laura Schifrin, I would make the motion to move this forward to MPO.
Thank you.
Second,
Will,
Janet Dice.
To go out for public comment. That's what this is for, right?
Yeah, it's just to recommend the MPO to release it at next week's meeting. Yep.
Right, for public comment.
Yep.
Thank you.
Got it. Thanks, Laura.
Okay, that's great. So we have a consensus on that, it seems. And I'll also point out that we did add this to the handout. So if there is interest in reviewing this work program in detail, you can access that via the handout folder. We'll come back next month and review any comments that were received and make another recommendation to the NPO. So thank you. Okay, next is Regional Coordinating Council. So I'll leave most of the background on this to Chelsea and Lois, but basically you may remember some discussion back in the fall in supporting a grant that Chennai 9 applied for to revamp the Regional Coordinating Council. That community transit grant was awarded, so they're off and running, and glad to see that. And we do plan on having some updates to this group from the RCC in the future, in the spirit of sort of all being in line with transportation in the region. So with that, I'll turn it over to Chelsea.
Thanks, Brian. Can you make me a presenter so I can share my
Yes.
screen? Thank you. Okay, let's see. All right, let's see what it decides to share. That is not what I want to share. All right, hold on. Share something else. Applications. There we go. Okay. Sorry, GoToMeeting is not my usual thing. All right. How do I see what I'm presenting? Okay. All right. Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Okie doke. Good. All right. So, wanted to just introduce everybody to what a Regional Coordinating Council is, remind everybody where we've been so far. So this is part of a much larger effort. So about a year and a half ago or so, we started the process of putting together a Future of Mobility group. So that was a partnership with the Chennai and MRPC, and a bunch of other community partner organizations, including MART in our towns and a lot of agencies. And so this Future Mobility group went through a process to determine what kinds of structures and plans we would need to have a comprehensive mobility master plan for the region. So a 5-year transportation plan for the whole region that incorporates public, private, and other aspects of mobility. And along with that, those recommendations came out with 2 structures that were recommended. One is a Transportation Management Association, which is workforce focused. So that's that is an initiative that's up and running already, and is in the process of becoming a 501c4 organization that's going to be housed under the Chamber of Commerce. And there are already agreements being put in place for member organizations. And the members are large employers in the region. They pay a membership fee and they get some group benefits out of that that benefit their ability to recruit and retain workforce. Primarily focused along the Route 2 corridor of businesses, but definitely hoping to serve and pull in workforce from the surrounding outlying areas that may not typically have access to traditional transportation. So that is one structure. The other structure is the Regional Coordinating Council, which focuses more on the service to our low-income, disability, senior, and veteran populations. And so a Regional Coordinating Council typically involves our town representatives as well as social service organization representatives and our transportation providers, of course. And I'm going to make sure, I'm going to see if I can figure out how to continue to, okay, hold on. I'm going to change to, I'm going to look at my other screen and I'm not going to be able to see you anymore, but okay. Did that change?
Yep.
Okay, good. Sorry, I really don't use this platform for, I use Zoom all the time. Anyway, so this is a little clunky for me. So who are we and why are we doing this? Anybody who's not terribly familiar with the Community Health Network area, which is CHNA 9, or the Health Equity Partnership, which is the name we go by. So we are a organization that focuses on upstream policy and systems change work that makes everybody healthier in the region. So we hold the Community Health Improvement Plan for the region. And when we took the Community Health Improvement Plan out into the community to do some evaluation work, people gave us a lot of information about how this stratifies out in terms of importance and where we need to be providing our focus. And so this top tier here, mental and behavioral health supports, safe and affordable housing and shelter, and affordable and culturally appropriate healthy food, are what we call the conditions for health. And so those are like the direct service type of organizations that are members of ours that we support, but we are not a direct service organization. And then, of course, our safe and supportive learning environments and living wage jobs. These are the environments that people spend most of their waking hours in. And so it's important that these environments are conducive to these conditions for health. And then the blue area down here is really where, now my dog's barking, is really where we spend most of our time. And that is in working on anti-racist systems, strong connections and collaboration between our partner organizations, policies and funding that support public health and social services. And we were not in transportation, but it came up so strongly in all of the work that we were doing across the community that it is one of the foundations of creating access to all of these other things, whether it's jobs and learning or access to all of these social services. And so we added transportation to what we do, and we started really thinking about like how a convening organization could be useful in the transportation space. And so that's where we came up with the Future Mobility Working Group. And then that evolved into these other groups. So some really good things have been happening. Rural is certainly having a moment, and we are getting a lot more attention out this way. We've been doing a lot of advocacy to ensure that that happens, and have been at the state level in a lot of those transportation spaces, testifying and making sure that it's not just the MBTA that gets all of the money. So there's a lot that's going on in transportation right now. There's certainly a lot of fluctuation in terms of priorities for what's getting funding, and transportation still seems to be pretty strong. So a good place to put some investment. We have brought together partners from across the region. I think I kind of alluded to that already. So the Health Equity Partnership is us. we hired Lois, who's going to introduce herself in a few minutes. We actually hired Lois when we were working on the mitigation strategies after the closure of Neshoba Valley Medical Center. And she did some community engagement work for that project. And we retained her to do the community engagement around the transportation. And so Lois is going to be primarily coordinating the Regional Coordinating Council. We have other staff that will provide support for this. We work very closely with MRPC and also CMRPC. We're a very big region. We cover 27 cities and towns, and the margins of that are a little fuzzy. So we bleed over into other regions as there is need to. We're not restricted in that way. We work with our transportation providers and, of course, the state. We work very closely with MassHire, the Chamber of Commerce. As I said, the TMA is going to be seated under the Chamber of Commerce. We work with our institutions, and we have some really strong engagement with youth. We have a whole youth advisory council, and our senior and disability groups, our municipalities, our community members, and all of this together. People put together this future mobility vision statement, which encompasses what could be, what we're hoping to achieve in the very, very long term, which is that all people who live, work, and visit North Central can easily and safely move to, from, and between all the places that they want to go. All right. Our values, which was a whole other meeting of this group, are that we want transportation not to be focused simply on the easiest populations to serve or specific populations, but that transportation really should be something that's accessible to everyone, reliable, centered on people's needs, so human-centered, holistic in that it benefits people mentally, physically, financially, and that it is interconnected. So it coordinates with other regions and within other parts of our region. All right. I bring you to the MassDOT grant. Okay, so that grant that we asked for your approval to submit got us three things. It got a Council on Aging driver for the town of Air, which was much needed because of the financial stress and the time commitments that have been put on them after the closure of Neshoba Valley Medical Center. They were turning away in the neighborhood of 30 rides a day because of the additional strain on their system. So that got them another driver. It also got us a education and job transportation youth coordinator for Luck, which specifically for youth experiencing homelessness so that they can get to or from like the Mount or Fitchburg State, and so that they can get to and from jobs. And it established the Regional Coordinating Council. So it allowed us to continue employing Lois, and it will also fund a mutual aid style shared services. It is a small pot of money that is for those shared services. It's really only around like $15,000. But what I want to say about that is that it is not meant to be the money that would stand up a whole new program, because then you have to sustain that, right? So what it is money to kind of facilitate conversations between organizations or towns to be creative about how to bridge gaps, maybe reduce duplication of services or routes, and figure out how to make the most of what we have. And there's a little bit of money there to bridge any additional cost that might incur. Whether it means that one town has a driver who could do some more hours, but they don't have the vehicle at that time, or a town has a vehicle that's sitting there, because they stop using it at 3:00 in the afternoon. That pot of money really just kind of makes those conversations a little bit easier. So that's really what that is for. Just to go over quickly what a regional coordinating council is, it is a voluntary coalition. There's no membership fee. You could be part of more than one regional coordinating council if you're a border town or you're not sure like which region you really belong to. So there's no harm in becoming a member. Members are human service agencies, our state agencies and transit authorities, our regional planning offices, consumers. It's really important that we have some riders and people who maybe aren't riders but would like to use transportation services, and of course our town folk. And so the regional boundaries are not rigid. The structure of this particular regional coordinating council is that it will be staffed and housed under the Health Equity Partnership, Chinah 9. Lois will be your point of contact. MRPC staff will be providing some staff support when we need to do studies or pull data, do any mapping projects. And so who it serves, it is centered on transportation needs, again, of older adults, people with disabilities, low-income commuters. It will also connect with some transit-adjacent initiatives and needs. For instance, aging in place, livable communities, projects related to things like digital equity or climate resilience or housing. So it doesn't have to be just transportation specific. It will ask our members what they really want to learn about and be involved in. So some of those things that we already know people have talked about are the need to coordinate existing services and resources to connect our communities better, and be able to provide expanded services, more services for our residents, collaborate on some project proposals or grant applications so that we can be more competitive in those spaces, and bring more resources to the region generally. And then learning from the successes or challenges of other regions that are like ours. For instance, there's a whole statewide coalition of microtransit, a learning collaborative around microtransit. And so, bringing in people who have done projects and figure out what stage of the project they're in, what they've learned from that, whether it's volunteer driver programs, somebody who's maybe trying to decide between different ride scheduling software. We could bring in folks to talk about what they've used, what works well for them. Certainly microtransit. There's no need to reinvent or learn on our own when somebody else has already done that initial legwork. So it's really important to have some presentation time. And so the structure of these meetings will be that they are bi-monthly. So we'll meet once every 2 months in a hybrid format for a couple of hours, because we really want to get some actual work done in that meeting. And so the first hour of the meeting will be that kind of learning opportunity or presentation that people really want to know about. And then the second hour, we anticipate focusing more on some small group planning time, So if you have a neighboring organization or town that you would like to have some conversation with, and figure out like the details about how some shared service or grant application or something is going to go, it gives you that time to do that in that atmosphere. Okay, I am going to stop sharing that. Does anybody have questions before I do the last part? I went really fast. I'm sorry about that. No questions on that.
Yes.
Hi, Laura.
Who will be contacted in the towns regarding these meetings?
I'm glad you
who's
asked.
going to participate from the region?
Yes. So there's no limit and no specific person in each town that needs to be the participant. And actually, the next thing I was going to do is share. Hold on 1 second. I am so terrible at this. Apologies for that. I'm going to share the list that I have right now. That Lois put together. So this is, I'm not going to take credit for that. So there's nobody from Athol here today, right? I will skim by that.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is. Hi.
There is. Hi.
Who am I talking to? Sorry, I can't see both.
Dick Kilhart, Athol DPW.
Oh, hello. There you are. Okay, so your name is on here. But we have a bunch of other names on here too. So can you see this well? You might have to zoom in a lot. I don't know.
Yeah, let's see. Yes, I can see that.
Okay, so it looks like we have a COA email, but we don't have the person who would be affiliated with that email. So I think we want to have as many senior centers involved as possible.
That's Kathy Savoy.
Kathy with a K or a C?
Kathy with a C.
Kathy with a C. I guessed wrong. Kathy Voy, V-O...
Savoy, S-A-V-O-Y.
S-A-V-O-I-E. E?
No E.
No E. Okay. I'm doing terrible at this. Okay. Okay. So, and then we have Heidi Murphy on here. Is she planning department still?
But she's in the planning office, yes.
Okay. Appropriate person to keep on this list, or?
Yeah, I would say so, yes.
Okay. In the library, do you happen to?
You have Jean Shaughnessy down there.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Okay.
She's the library director.
Yep. All right. And Jay O'Brien, I'm going to delete that row. Okay.
Jay O'Brien is Board of Health.
Okay. And should be involved?
She probably could be. She has no help in that office, so she's by herself. I know if she has to do anything.
Doing all of the inspections and everything on her own. Okay.
Yeah, because they had a retiree just recently. She stepped up from the assistant to the director, and
I know
the town did not fill her job.
I know. I miss Deb Vondel. I see her a lot though.
She replaced Deb.
Okay. And what's her name? Her first name? That's not
Jane.
Jane. Okay. Okay. Anybody else on this list? Is there anybody on this list who should not be here? So Kathy Norton, Eric Smith, Rebecca Violecki. Oh, I know Rebecca. She should be there.
Alan Dodge was a selectman, but he lives in Florida now, so that probably name shouldn't
probably
be on
not so interested. Okay, good. We can delete him. I don't think the whole select board probably needs that. Okay. Leave Kathy and Eric.
I I don't know who Kathy Norton is, honestly.
Okay.
I don't recognize that name. I'm sure it's someone affiliated with Athol, but I don't recognize that name.
Okay.
I think she's on MRPC. She participates.
Okay.
Brian, can you confirm?
Yeah, I think she does. I'm
Norton.
not sure what community she's from.
Okay. We can look into that a little bit.
She may work for Athol or represent Athol in some way at the MRPC, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Eric, Sean, Nancy. Those are our, and then we've already got Rebecca Bielecki here. And we've got you.
And you have me there again under an old email, and the last name does not have a D in it. It's just T.
Which one's okay? So
the one you just removed.
The one I just deleted. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then we can delete the duplicate of you there. Okay. Leave everybody else. Does Nancy Burnham need to be there?
She's the town clerk. You would tell me. I'm not sure.
I mean, in my experience, town clerks don't typically go to meetings, but I think that's up to you.
Well, you have quite a few of us on that list.
All right. So
already,
we'll take
so maybe no.
Okay. All right. Fitchburg. We've got a long list of Fitchburgs, but I think a lot of them are duplicates, so this might go pretty quick.
All right. My turn. So Senior Center, Amanda Keck is the correct person. She's the director.
Okay.
MRPC, so we've got 3 names under there. Lynn Butland, she is on the planning board.
Okay.
I don't know if that's the appropriate person for that contact. But
I mean, I think it's, if the person has an interest in, actively participating in transportation projects and planning, then I have a hard time answering that because different people approach like a planning board or board of health position very differently.
Right.
So I think that's a matter of like, how well do you know that person and whether they would be an active participant.
I have a recommendation. Can these lists be sent to the towns instead going to all 22 towns now?
Yeah, well, we're not going through 22. We're only going through Fitchburg, Lancaster, Lunenburg, and Townsend because you guys are here, and Shirley.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy to update the list too if you'd prefer to just email it and then we can do it offline.
I can do that. Promise to actually do it, though.
And I can do that as well for Townsend.
Okay. Do you want me to just send you your list?
Yeah,
sure.
I think Townsend's actually kind of small. No,
yeah, it is.
Well, I meant as a list, but it's not.
Laura, I'm surprised to not see your name under all those positions there.
Well, we've got Laura here. Oh, wait, is it 888 or 8884? Which one is your email?
Is that why I have a problem with MPO?
Probably.
Okay, it's 8884.
Okay. Well, that would be why you aren't getting the MPO emails. Welcome, Brian.
Okay, we can do this quick.
I know Rebecca's library.
Beth would still stay there. She's our planning board staff. Carol Hostifs, it will most likely be the new chairman. Board of Health, it is Carla. Senior Center, it is Elsie. She's new. DPW, James Smith. Well, I'm not sure why that's DP. He is Highway. James Smith is Highway. Senior Center. I can't answer for Senior Center.
That's
Eric,
okay.
it's not correct under select board.
Uh-huh.
So you need Nelson, MUI is his last name.
All right.
And
It must all go to that email, though.
yeah.
Okay.
I'm actually the chair of select board in Townsend.
Okay. Did I just hear Rebecca is leaving or has left the library?
She has left.
Okay.
12/31 of 24.
Okay.
And I don't think that's the right name. It's Teresa Morse that was on select board and is gone.
Okay.
The library trustee, I'm not sure who that is. MRPC, Veronica Cal. I don't think she's doing that.
Okay.
MRPC. I think it's still under my liaison for select board. And I will be MJTC for next year as well. Chaz is no longer there.
Okay.
I actually have taken over most of his positions.
Okay. Excellent.
And that's it, right?
Yep.
You'll just have to find out who library is.
Okay. Can do.
All right.
All right. Anybody else want to go through their list now? Because it'll be quick and easy.
I haven't seen Shirley yet. This is Janet Tice.
Shirley? I can do Shirley. Shirley is.
I'm curious to see what's on
Yeah,
LinkedIn.
Shirley.
Well, there's only. Oh, that's easy. Let's see. Senior Center, yes, and I don't know who that person is. Elizabeth Dunning, she is, or Dinning, I am Dinning, I think that's correct. Yeah, she is a senior center person. I'm not sure what her role is there. She's not the director, though.
Okay.
And who else is there for Shirley? Library. I don't know. Do you want a trustee or do you want a employee for the library or what?
Libraries usually kind of you get like the director and then you go from there. Let them forward it on.
Yeah, I can't help you there. Select board, Enrico Capucci is no longer on the select board. I
Okay.
think instead of the select board, you should use our town administrator. That's Brian Sawyer, Bryan Sawyer, Sawyer. And he can represent the select board as he usually does for things like this. Planning, I guess that would be me. Oh, I see. You have me down under MJTC. Okay, you could also do /planning. I'm also on the Shirley Planning Board.
Okay. Do we have your email right?
Yes.
Okay. It looks like there's two of the same person here, William Clerk. Oh, is that town clerk? Is that?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't looking up there. Oh, sorry. Town clerk is Bill Olsey, but that's an O, not a D. OEL.
Do we want that person on there?
Probably not.
Okay. That's what I was wondering. Okay. Oh, looks like Brian Sawyer was there. Sorry. I didn't see it. Okay, so Brian Sawyer's there. Barbara Yoakum. Do we know who that is?
She's the planning board MPO representative, but she's no longer on the planning board. She just stepped down, and we will be electing somebody new to be the representative to the MPO. So you're gonna have to wait a bit on that. It's not, but you might cross Barbara off because she's not involved.
Already done. All right. And I've got Logan Breeze.
Oh, Kristen O'Brien on the senior center is correct.
Okay. Assistant town administrator?
That would be Logan Breeze, but he was down here, well, I saw his name somewhere.
He's here.
You have him under MPO. I don't know why that would be. He's not involved with the MPO, but he is the assistant TA.
Okay.
I will say, Logan is sub-region representative to the MPO.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's new from our caucus in February.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Anybody else want to do theirs? We just did what? We did Townsend.
Well,
Shirley.
Lancaster.
Sorry?
Lancaster?
Lancaster. Let's do Lancaster. All right.
Okay, so if you want to start at the top.
We got 3 of them.
Haley's-
Yep, go ahead.
Okay, so Kelly Dolan is no longer with us,
Oh, okay.
and we don't have that position filled. And I don't think we will. But Kathleen Rocco just retired. She was the selectman's office, and that will be replaced, but we don't have her yet.
Okay.
Yet. DPW Kevin Bartlett is gone. You can change that to Scott McDonald. And McDonald's MAC. Why don't you put an MAC in there? And then you can use that same format. Okay. Yep.
There we go.
Here you go. Okay. So let's see. So you got Samantha. Samantha's good.
Okay.
Well, to change the senior center Samantha. She's recreation. Put Caitlin Roy.
Add Caitlin Roy. Oh no, she's up here. Senior
Oh, you
center.
got okay. Yeah, she should be. Oh, right. She okay. Yeah, so she's senior center. TA Jeff Netting happens to be interim again, so that's good. Joe Moulet is good, and then all you need to do is change Jasmine Farinacci to me.
Okay. So Alexandra Turner.
She's not on the select board any longer.
Okay.
She resigned, so
Okay.
I'm not sure who they would want to put on there.
Frank Streeter.
Frank Streeter is still chair of the planning board, so that's good.
Okay.
And
Change
then
Jasmine to
Brian, Brian Keating, KEATING. There you go. Yep.
Oh, you're already there. Okay.
Oh, am I really?
Yeah, you're there under MPO and planning. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That makes sense.
Perfect. All right. That was good. Helpful. Okay. Did we miss anybody?
Yeah, Amanda Reed Lunenburg. I don't know if you want to just email me it. I will fill it out right away when you send it to me. Don't worry, but I want to make sure that you have my email on there.
Okay. I will send you your list.
Okay, perfect.
Anybody else? Sorry? I missed that.
Yeah, it's caller 3. I don't see a name, but not sure if that was inadvertent.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Chelsea. We can work with you and Lois as well.
Yep.
On I know we gave you some
I'm
list
gonna
that
stop sharing.
all did, but we've got a lot of information, so
Yeah. So
it's,
that was
it's not
helpful.
easy. It's not easy to go through multiple towns and try to figure out. Like town websites are all different. Some don't have the information on there, so
Right.
definitely understand that.
So it was super helpful. Thank you. I know that was tedious, but it'll help us get the right people at those meetings. And the idea, especially since they're only every couple of months, is to really make sure that we have the people there who can make decisions and work on these issues together. It's, there's not a ton of just like take in information and like bring it back to somebody. So the more people we can have there who are, really going to be active participants, the better it'll be.
All right, great. Any questions for Chelsea?
Lois, you want to just introduce yourself real quick? Most of the emails that you get are going to come from Lois.
Thank you, Chelsea. Some of you have already received emails from me, and if you haven't, you will be. As Chelsea mentioned, I started with Health Equity Partnership back in the fall. I'm thrilled to be on board for this project. My background is public health. I retired from Grafton a while ago, but I've stayed active in the field. And this is a new aspect of public health for me. My background was environmental. So getting into this side of public health is definitely interesting and challenging, and I will do my best to do justice to the program.
Great, thanks. Yeah, like I mentioned, we look forward to working with the RCC and along with and Lois in the future, and hopefully we see some improvements in the system region wide. So, thank you, and thanks for everyone for providing some input. Next, we have contract status reports. Regional Transit Authority. Any update from Mart?
No, thank you. I don't have any new update.
Okay. Thanks, George.
Do you have
After
an
that-
update
Yep.
from your contract?
Yep. So we have Mass Department of Transportation 3C. This is relation to our joint federal highway Mass DOT FTA contract. The only update I have on that is we wanted to share some information in relation to the National Pollutant Discharge Elimination System permit. There's a quick guide in relation to the MS4 permit for 2024. Found this helpful. I know a lot of our communities have to deal with these obligations. Specifically, I wanted to point out comments are due for this particular go around on the permit by May 21st. So if you have a municipal storm sewer system, this is a good resource. This quick guide, there's a lot of information here. Also, there's a self-assessment checklist that was put together by a consultant. So just informational purposes with stressing the comment period due May 21st on that. And that's all I have for updates on those.
Brian?
Yes.
Brian? This is
Yep.
Grace. I'm on the phone. I'm sorry,
That's
power
you,
was out.
Grace. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I have no power at my house, so I'm out looking for Wi-Fi. But so I can't see what you guys can see, but I do have a couple of notes I just want to convey to you. Some of the changes in the MS4 draft permit proposes is going to be the burdens that it's going to place on the cities and towns are. It's going to be expanding documentation and reporting. Catch basin clean out, there are going to be stricter requirements for that, including having to dispose of the water into the sewer systems, which for some cities and towns that will be a problem. And just winter road maintenance, there's going to be a lot of increased, more stringent regulations. I just want to quickly point everybody, if you don't know, most of our larger towns and cities are subject to these new regulations. So I think I would strongly encourage everybody to look up the MS4, look at the documents we've provided with this meeting, but also there is a coalition. I think 3 or 4 of our towns are a member of the Stormwater Coalition, and they are the best place for getting information. It's the Central Massachusetts Stormwater Coalition. And some towns that are in our area that are not part of this coalition probably should be part of this coalition, including Leominster and Athol, Gardner. So there's some of our larger towns are not. I don't think Gardner's on there, but anyway, I just wanted to point you to that. That's it.
Thanks, Grace. Yeah, and I'm showing them the quick guide that mentions some of the items that you spoke on. Yeah,
Okay.
as I mentioned, this has been around for a while, but it's a big obligation to many communities with these systems. So, if in the future we can be of help or a resource or even partner in fulfilling some of these obligations, that's something that we're
Yeah,
willing
and I
to look forward to.
just wanted to throw in one last comment, Brian. If you guys can hear me, and that is, and I'm not sure if you covered it, the audio is really bad on my end, is that they're encouraging towns to put in comments, because that then you effectively reserve the right, if there are lawsuits, if there's any kind of legal action pushing back on some of these new criteria, it gives you standing. So I would encourage everybody, even though it's a short notice, to go ahead and take a look into those things. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Grace. That's important to know as well. So that's what I have for updates under 3C. Administrative matters. Next meeting. And first off, I'd like to just point out that we sent out the appointment forms for this group to these went out to all mayors, select boards, planning boards, departments in the Montachusett region. Also went out to our organizational members. Basically, we're asking each select board and planning board to appoint somebody to MJTC. They don't have to be members of those boards or even employed by the community, but somebody to show up and be the eyes and ears and contribute. So these went out a couple weeks ago. We're asking appointees back to us June 30th, and if there's any questions, please reach out to me. As for the next meeting, I believe that would be June 11th at 2:30. So again, we'll likely review some comments from the UPWP among other potential items. After the July meeting, typically we look to go possibly every other month with this group, depending on what's going on. Sometimes official business dries up when we're done with the TIP and UPWP, but we do have amendments here and there. So something to think about. We can revisit that next time, but tentatively scheduled next month would be June 11th at 2:30, and I'll send out the notices the week before the meeting. So with that being said, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Laura Schifrin, I'll make a motion to adjourn at
All right.
whatever we are. We're at 3:42 p.m.
Okay, great. I'll consider that consensus. So thanks, everyone, and see you next month.
Okay, Brian.
Yeah, Laura.
I need to talk to you for a minute about June.
Sure.
If I could.